Oren had always believed the world was ordinary. He lived in a quiet city where the streets were clean, the people were polite, and the days passed with a calm rhythm. The sky turned soft shades of blue in the morning and melted into pink and orange in the evening. Life was simple, and Oren liked it that way. He spent most of his time at the city's academy, studying science and observing patterns in the stars. He loved understanding how things worked, from the smallest gears to the movements of planets. One day, a new student arrived. Her name was Lyra. She moved with quiet grace as she entered the classroom, carrying only a small bag and a notebook. Something about her felt different to Oren. She did not fumble with the chairs or bump into desks. She simply walked, observing everything, and somehow she seemed to notice details that no one else did. Her eyes were wide and deep, shining like they contained secret knowledge. Oren watched her quietly from his desk, curious. The teacher introduced Lyra to the class. She nodded politely, her voice soft but clear. "Hello, I am Lyra," she said. She did not smile much, but there was a calmness about her that drew people in. Oren felt a strange pull to her, as if he could sense she belonged to the world, but also did not fully belong. In the first few weeks, Lyra amazed everyone. She solved problems faster than anyone else, finished experiments in record time, and always had ideas no one had considered. She asked questions about human behavior that were unusual. She wanted to know why people smiled when they were nervous or why some humans were afraid of small things. Her curiosity was endless, and Oren noticed that her questions were always careful, as if she was observing humans like a scientist might observe a new species. Oren felt both fascinated and protective. He noticed how Lyra often stayed apart from groups. She did not join the crowded cafeterias or the noisy halls. She preferred quiet corners, where she could read or write in her notebook. She watched the sky during breaks and sometimes held her hand out as if feeling the wind in a way humans did not. Oren wanted to speak to her, but he also did not want to scare her. He waited patiently for her to trust him. One afternoon, while working in the lab, Oren accidentally dropped a set of small instruments. Lyra was sitting nearby, her attention focused on a project of her own. She did not startle or flinch. Instead, she gently picked up the instruments and handed them to him with a calm smile. Her movements were precise and graceful, almost as if she had practiced them 1,000 times. "Thank you," Oren said, feeling a warmth he could not explain. "You are welcome," she replied, her voice soft. "Careful with these. They are delicate." Oren felt that there was more to her words than simple concern. There was knowledge, patience, and something else, something he could not name. He realized that Lyra did not simply act like a human. She seemed to understand humans in a way no one else did. Over the next few days, Oren began noticing small things. Lyra never ate much, yet she seemed strong. She walked without leaving footprints in soft dirt. Sometimes she seemed to appear in places without anyone seeing her approach. She asked about the stars and the distant planets with a longing that made Oren curious. One evening, the Academy organized a small stargazing event. Students gathered on the roof with telescopes. Lyra was already there, looking at the sky with a small notebook in her hand. Oren joined her and noticed that she was drawing symbols and patterns he had never seen before. "Are those constellations?" Oren asked, pointing to a pattern in her notebook. "They are not exactly constellations," she said quietly. "I am trying to record the patterns I see." Oren watched her carefully. Her eyes reflected the stars, and her fingers moved lightly over the notebook. She seemed connected to something beyond the sky, something he could not touch. "Why do you watch the sky so much?" he asked. Lyra looked at him, her gaze steady and calm. "I am trying to understand it," she said. "There is something important out there, something I need to know." Oren did not press further. He sensed that asking too many questions might make her retreat. Instead, he simply nodded and stood beside her, looking up at the stars in silence. Days turned into weeks, and Oren and Lyra began to work together on small research projects. Lyra's understanding of science amazed him. She could calculate results in seconds, anticipate experiments' outcomes, and explain phenomena in ways that were simple yet brilliant. Oren started to admire her more than any other student he had ever met. One afternoon, as they were finishing a project, Lyra paused and looked at him. "You notice things," she said softly. "You notice details most people ignore." Oren smiled. I guess I learned from the stars. No, she said. You notice because you care. Most humans do not. Her words made Orin feel warmth in his chest. He realized that she was not only smart but also sensitive. She understood human behavior in a way that was honest and kind. But he also realized something else. There was a distance in her, a part of her that remained secret. She had not shared where she came from or why she seemed so different. Orin decided he would not force her to speak. He would wait. He had a feeling that one day she would tell him the truth, and when that day came, he would be ready. As he watched Lyra pack her notebook and walk out of the lab, he noticed the quiet way she moved, the careful attention to her surroundings, and the slight sadness in her eyes. He understood then that she was not hiding from him. She was hiding from the world, from humans who might not understand her. Orin made a promise to himself. He would be patient. He would protect her secret. And when she was ready, he would be there to listen. That night, as he lay in bed, he thought about the sky and the countless stars scattered across it. Somewhere out there, he knew, was a story waiting to be told. And somehow, Lyra was a part of it. For the first time, Orin realized that the ordinary world he knew might not be ordinary at all. Something extraordinary had arrived in his life, and he would not let it pass by without understanding it fully. The city was quiet that evening. The streets glowed under soft streetlights, and the Academy's lab hummed with low energy from machines and computers. Orin stayed late, finishing notes for a project. He liked the quiet hours, when the world seemed calm and thought could flow freely. Lyra was already there. She sat at a table in the corner, her notebook open, and a small device in her hands. Orin noticed that the device had soft lights that moved in strange patterns. He did not know what it was, but it seemed important to her. She moved her fingers lightly over it, and the lights shifted as if responding to her touch. Orin watched quietly. He had learned not to disturb her when she focused. Her mind seemed to work differently, and sometimes it was better to observe than to ask questions. After a while, the device made a soft hum, and a pulse of light shot upward to the window toward the night sky. Orin felt a chill. Something about it felt alive. "Lyra," he said carefully, walking closer. "What is that?" Lyra looked up at him. Her eyes were wide, and a small frown touched her forehead. "It is nothing," she said softly. "Just a signal I am waiting for." "A signal?" Orin asked. "From whom?" She did not answer immediately. Instead, she returned her attention to the device, her fingers moving in careful patterns. The lights on it pulsed faster and brighter. Orin could see her hand shake slightly. She was nervous, but she tried to hide it. "I think I am not ready to explain it," she said finally. "Some things are too complicated." Orin nodded. He did not push. He had learned to trust her timing. He could feel that there was a story behind the device, something she wanted to share but could not yet. He decided to wait. Later, when everyone else had left the lab, Orin stepped out to get some fresh air. The night was cool and clear. Stars shone brightly above, more than he had ever seen in the city sky. He thought about Lyra, about the strange device, and about the way she seemed connected to something far beyond the earth. When he returned, he noticed that Lyra was gone. The lab was empty except the device, which still pulsed softly. Orin frowned. She had not mentioned leaving. He walked to the window and looked out. A faint figure moved in the courtyard below. It was Lyra. She moved silently, almost gliding across the ground. Orin followed her quietly. He wanted to make sure she was safe, but he did not want to scare her. She left the academy building and headed toward the nearby hills. The city lights faded behind her, and the stars above grew brighter. Finally, she stopped on a small hill overlooking the forest. She placed the device on the ground, and it projected soft blue light that formed shapes in the air. Orin stayed behind the trees, careful not to be seen. The shapes moved like a language, flowing and changing as if alive. Lyra raised her hands toward the light, and it responded, moving faster and brighter. She whispered words in a language Orin did not understand. It sounded musical, soft, and flowing. Orin felt a strange feeling in his chest. The language was not like anything humans spoke. It was as if it carried meaning beyond words, meaning that touched the mind instead of the ears. Suddenly, the device sent a stronger pulse into the sky. Orin felt a vibration in the ground. The stars seemed to flicker as if reacting to the signal. Lyra's eyes widened, and a small gasp escaped her lips. She looked at the sky, then back at the device. Her hands trembled, but she did not step back. Orin's curiosity grew. He realized that Lyra was waiting for something important, something that she could not face alone. He wanted to call out to her, but he stayed hidden. He could feel her fear and her hope at the same time. The light faded gradually, and the shapes disappeared into the night. Lyra picked up the device and hugged it close to her chest. She looked around, as if checking that no one had seen her secret. Orin stepped forward carefully. "You are safe," he said softly. Lyra jumped slightly but did not run. She turned to him, her eyes wide. "Orin," she whispered, "I did not expect anyone to follow me." "I was worried," Orin said. "I wanted to make sure you were okay." She studied him for a moment. There was a flicker of relief in her eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Most people would be afraid if they saw this." Orin nodded. "I am not afraid. I just want to understand." For a long moment, they stood together, looking at the stars. The night was quiet except for the soft hum of the device. Orin realized that he was witnessing something extraordinary. Lyra was connected to the universe in a way no human could fully understand. "I do not know when I will be able to explain everything," Lyra said finally. "Some things are too far away, too dangerous. But I had to make sure they received the message." "What message?" Orin asked. Lyra shook her head. "I cannot say. Not yet. You would not understand. Not now." Orin felt a strong determination. He wanted to be the person she could trust. "I will wait," he said. "I want to understand when you are ready." She looked at him, her eyes reflecting the stars above. For the first time, Orin saw a hint of relief on her face. She did not need to speak everything. She only needed to know that someone could stand beside her without fear. They walked back toward the academy together. Lyra's steps were still light and careful, but she did not try to hide anymore. Orin felt a bond forming between them, a silent promise that he would protect her secret and wait for the day she would trust him fully. When they reached the lab, Lyra carefully stored the device in her bag. She paused, then looked at Orin. "You notice things about me," she said softly. Orin smiled. "I notice because I care," he said. Her lips curved slightly into a small smile. It was the first smile he had seen from her that seemed real and not just polite. Orin felt warmth in his chest. He realized that he was not just curious about her because she was strange. He was curious because she was extraordinary, and he wanted to be part of her world, whatever it might be. That night, Orin stayed at the academy a little longer. He looked at the stars and thought about the strange device and the pulse of light that had reached far into space. He wondered about Lyra's world, about the secret she carried, and about the message she had sent. He understood one thing clearly. Lyra was not just a student. She was something more, something extraordinary, and he knew that his life had changed the moment she arrived. For the first time, Orin felt that the ordinary world he had known might not be ordinary at all. Something incredible was unfolding, and he would be ready to face it. The academy buzzed with excitement that morning. Students moved through the halls with papers and notebooks in hand, talking about experiments, projects, and competitions. Orin walked beside Lyra, carrying his notes and watching her quietly. She seemed calm, her notebook clutched lightly in her hands, but Orin noticed a tension in her shoulders. Something about her was different today. "Are you all right?" Orin asked softly. Lyra looked at him and nodded. "I am fine," she said. Her voice was gentle but firm. Orin could sense that she was trying to reassure both herself and him. The academy had arranged a special test that day. Students were to launch drones into the sky to measure atmospheric conditions. The drones were delicate, and mistakes could be dangerous. Lyra had volunteered to help Orin with his drone, and together they had spent hours preparing it for the launch. When the drones were ready, the students gathered on the large open field behind the academy. The air was filled with excitement and nervous energy. Lyra stood slightly apart from the crowd, her eyes focused on the sky. Orin noticed her hands were steady, but her gaze was sharp, as if she could see something others could not. The launch began smoothly. Drones lifted off one by one, rising into the air with soft waves. Orin guided his drone carefully, monitoring its sensors. Lyra watched closely, offering advice in her calm voice. Her observations were precise, and Oren felt grateful for her help. Suddenly, one of the drones began to shake violently. The students around it shouted, trying to regain control. Oren felt his heart race. The drone was heading straight for a group of students who had not noticed it. "Move!" he shouted, but the drone was too fast. It fell from the sky like a falling star, aimed at the students below. Before Oren could react, Lyra sprang forward. She moved with speed and strength that seemed impossible. Her legs carried her faster than any human could run, and her arms extended just in time to catch the two students the drone was about to hit. She pulled them back safely, and the drone crashed harmlessly into the grass. The crowd froze in shock. Everyone stared at Lyra, wide-eyed. Whispers spread quickly. "Did you see that?" one student murmured. "No human can move like that." Lyra's face remained calm, but her hands trembled slightly. She knelt to check that the students were unharmed, her movements smooth and careful. Oren ran up to her, his chest pounding. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I am fine," she said softly. "Everyone is safe." Her voice was steady, but her eyes flicked nervously around the field. She knew that others had seen more than they should. Oren helped her to her feet. "You were amazing," he said quietly, "but people will start asking questions." "I know," Lyra replied. She looked down, her fingers brushing the edge of her notebook. "I did what I had to do. I could not let anyone get hurt." Oren understood immediately. Lyra was not trying to show off. She acted out of concern and responsibility. He also realized that her secret was at risk. Some students might start noticing that she was different, that she was not entirely human. The rest of the day was tense. Teachers tried to calm the students, explaining that the drone malfunctioned. Some students whispered, glancing at Lyra with curiosity and fear. Lyra stayed quiet, her eyes focused on her notebook, but Oren noticed the small signs of stress, the tight line of her mouth, the quick movements of her hands. During the afternoon, Oren invited her to walk with him to the library. They moved through the quiet halls, and Oren tried to ease her tension. "Do not worry about them," he said gently. "Most people will forget by tomorrow." "I hope so," she said softly, "but I cannot show them who I really am. Not yet." Oren nodded. He understood better than anyone. Lyra's life was complicated. She had to hide a truth that could change everything, and she trusted him enough to share only small pieces. He felt a strong desire to protect her, to help her feel safe. In the library, they sat near a window and studied the patterns of stars for a project. Lyra's hand moved across the pages with smooth, precise motions, and Oren noticed the calmness return to her face. But every now and then, her gaze lifted to the sky, and he could see the worry return. "Do you miss home?" Oren asked quietly. Lyra paused. Her eyes reflected the fading sunlight, and for a moment she seemed lost in thought. "Yes," she said finally, "but I do not know if I can return yet. There are things I need to do here." Oren did not press for details. He understood that her home was more than just a place. It was a part of her being. He simply nodded and returned to his own notes, respecting her silence. As the day ended, the students left the academy, and the campus became quiet. Lyra stayed behind to check her project one last time. Oren waited for her outside the lab, wanting to accompany her. "Are you ready to leave?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly. They walked together toward the main gate. The sky above them was painted with shades of purple and orange. Oren felt a quiet peace, knowing that despite the day's events, Lyra had not revealed her secret. But he also knew that the day had brought them closer. He had seen a part of her that few others had. He understood her courage, her responsibility, and the careful way she lived every moment. As they walked through the empty streets, Oren felt a sense of anticipation. Something was coming. He did not know what it was, but he could feel it in the air, in Lyra's quiet movements, and in the way she sometimes stared at the stars with longing. That night, Oren lay in bed thinking about the day. He realized that Lyra's presence had changed everything. The ordinary world he had known seemed smaller now, and the mysteries around her seemed larger than anything he had ever imagined. He thought about her abilities, her quiet strength, and the way she cared for others. He understood that she was extraordinary in ways he could barely comprehend, and he promised himself that he would stay by her side, protect her, and wait for the day she could share the truth with him. The world outside was quiet, but Oren knew that Lyra's life was far from ordinary, and he was ready to face whatever came next, as long as he could be there with her. The morning sun rose over the academy, painting the city in soft gold. Oren woke early, his mind still buzzing from the events of the last few days. He could not stop thinking about Lyra and the strange pulse from her device in the night sky. He felt a pull, a quiet curiosity that would not let him rest. As classes ended, Oren noticed Lyra moving quickly toward the exit. She carried her notebook tightly to her chest and walked with purpose. Something about her movement made him pause. He knew she was going somewhere important. Without thinking, he followed, keeping a careful distance. The streets of the city were busy, but Lyra's path led out of town. She moved through narrow alleys and small paths that Oren had never noticed before. He stayed behind trees and walls, careful not to let her see him. His heart beat faster with a mix of fear and excitement. After nearly an hour, Lyra entered a dense forest at the edge of the city. The trees were tall and old, their branches forming a canopy that blocked much of the sunlight. The forest floor was soft with moss, and small streams ran quietly between rocks. Lyra walked confidently, as if she knew every step, every hidden path. Oren struggled to keep up, but did not want to call out. He trusted his instincts to remain hidden. Finally, Lyra reached a small valley that seemed abandoned and forgotten. Roots and vines covered the ground and twisted around stones. The air was filled with the scent of earth and flowers. In the center of the valley, something glimmered beneath the greenery. Oren's eyes widened as he stepped closer. A small craft rested in the valley, partially hidden by the forest. It was silver and smooth, with gentle curve that reflected the sunlight. Soft blue light glowed along its edges, casting a calm glow over the mossy ground. The craft seemed alive, as if it could sense Lyra's presence. Lyra knelt beside it and placed her hands on the surface. The craft responded instantly. Lights flowed along its body, moving like waves across water. It hummed softly, a sound that was quiet yet filled the air with energy. Oren felt a thrill of awe. He had never seen anything like it. He stepped closer but kept himself partially hidden behind a tree. Lyra did not notice him immediately. She spoke in a quiet language that was unfamiliar to him, soft words that flowed like music. The craft responded to her voice, lights and symbols appearing in the air above it. Oren could not understand the words, but he felt their meaning. There was a connection, a communication that went beyond human language. Lyra was not simply talking to a machine. She was talking to something that belonged to her, something that was part of her world. He realized then that Lyra was not from Earth. She had been hiding this truth from everyone, and she trusted only a few moments with him without knowing it. He felt a mixture of wonder and respect. She had lived carefully, hiding her true self while helping humans, and now he saw the depth of her courage. Lyra's hands moved gently across the craft, and it began to rise slightly above the ground. The soft blue light brightened, and a gentle hum filled the valley. Oren could feel vibrations in the earth, vibrations that seemed to carry meaning he could not name. Suddenly, Lyra turned. Her eyes met his from a distance. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she nodded ever so slightly. Oren understood her message. She did not fear him, but she also did not fully trust him yet. He nodded back and stayed where he was, letting her control the moment. The craft descended and settled back on the ground. Lyra placed her hands on it one more time, whispering words that seemed to seal a promise between her and the machine. She looked around the valley, ensuring no one else could find it. The forest remained quiet, as if it had agreed to keep the secret safe. Oren stepped forward slowly, his curiosity stronger than ever. "It is incredible," he said softly. Lyra turned fully to him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp and cautious. "You should not be here," she said quietly. "I wanted to understand," Oren replied. "I did not come to harm you or the craft. I wanted to see for myself." Lyra studied him for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. Very few humans would have the patience to follow without fear. "You are different. That is why you are here." Oren felt a warmth in his chest. He realized that she was giving him a small measure of trust. He would not betray it. He would remain patient and careful, allowing her to reveal her story in her own time. They sat together near the craft. Lyra placed a notebook beside her and rested her hands on her knees. The hum of the machine filled the air softly, a comforting sound. Orin watched her carefully. She seemed calm but distant, as if part of her mind was always reaching outward, toward a place he could not see. "Why do you hide this?" Orin asked finally. "Why not tell someone?" Lyra shook her head. "People would be afraid. They might try to control me or the craft. I cannot allow that. I must be careful until the right time comes." Orin nodded. He understood the weight of her words. She had lived her life in secrecy, protecting something valuable while trying to learn about humans. Her courage and wisdom impressed him more than anything he had ever seen. "Do you ever feel alone?" he asked gently. Lyra looked up at the sky, where the sunlight filtered through the trees. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but I am learning about humans, learning about their hearts. That is why I stay here. That is why I work quietly, because humans have a strength that surprises even me." Orin smiled softly. "I think you are not alone now. I will stay by your side. I want to learn, just like you. I want to understand everything about you, if you let me." Lyra's eyes met his. There was a flicker of relief and something warmer, something human, in her gaze. She nodded. "You are patient. That is rare. Very few humans would wait." The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the valley. The forest seemed to hold its breath, keeping their secret safe. Orin and Lyra remained together, sitting quietly, sharing the moment without needing many words. For the first time, Orin truly understood that Lyra's life was extraordinary. She was not only intelligent and gentle, but also brave and careful in ways he could hardly imagine. The hidden craft was a part of her world, a reminder that she carried secrets far beyond his knowledge. As they prepared to leave, Lyra carefully stored her device and closed her notebook. She led the way back through the forest, moving with the same quiet grace. Orin followed, his mind full of thoughts and questions, but he did not ask them yet. He would wait. He would be patient. He knew that the day he had followed her had changed everything. He had seen a part of Lyra that few humans could ever see, and he understood that she was not hiding from him but from a world that might not yet be ready to accept her. Orin felt a quiet excitement. He realized that something incredible was unfolding, and he would be there to see it, to help her, and to stand by her side when the world finally learned her truth. The evening was calm, with the sky painted in shades of orange and purple. Orin walked through the quiet streets of the city, thinking about the hidden craft in the forest and the secrets Lyra carried. For days he had watched her, followed her carefully, and learned small hints of her extraordinary abilities. He had always known that she was different, but he had not yet understood the full extent. Tonight, he was about to. Lyra appeared at the academy gate, her small figure silhouetted against the setting sun. She carried her notebook and a small device tucked into her bag. When she saw Orin, her eyes softened, and she waved him over. Orin's heart raced. He had a feeling that this evening would change everything. "I need to talk to you," Lyra said quietly, her voice calm but with a hint of nervousness. Orin nodded. "I am listening." They walked together to a quiet hill on the outskirts of the city. From this vantage point, they could see the trees, the rooftops, and the soft glow of the streets far below. Most importantly, they could see the stars beginning to appear in the sky. Lyra stopped and looked upward, her eyes reflecting the first twinkling lights. "I have been waiting for the right moment to tell you," she said softly. "There are things about me that you must know. I have hidden them for a long time because I feared what humans might do if they learned the truth." Orin stayed silent, letting her take her time. He had learned patience in the days he had known her, and he knew that forcing her to speak now would only make her withdraw. Lyra took a deep breath. "I am not human," she admitted. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. "I come from a distant star. My people face danger, and I was sent here to learn about humans, to understand how they live, and to see if there is hope for our world to connect. I feared humans would not accept me. I feared they would harm me or take me away from the life I have built here." Orin watched her carefully. He could see the honesty in her eyes, the fear and the courage intertwined. She was not trying to impress him or explain away her differences. She was simply telling the truth that had weighed heavily on her since she arrived on Earth. "I am not surprised," Orin said finally. "I already knew." Lyra blinked, startled. Her gaze met his, searching for any sign of deception. "You knew?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Orin replied. "I noticed the small things at first. The way you move, how quickly you learn, the patterns in your eyes when you watch the stars. I could tell there was something extraordinary about you. I waited because I wanted you to trust me. I wanted you to share this on your own terms." Lyra's face relaxed slightly. She let out a soft sigh of relief. "You were patient," she said. "Most humans would have reacted with fear or curiosity too strong to handle. You waited, and that makes me feel safe." Orin smiled softly. "I will always wait for you. I will not judge you or your world. I only want to understand and stand by your side." For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to feel a sense of relief. She had carried her secret for so long, hiding it from everyone, and now she felt that someone truly understood her. She moved closer to Orin, her small hand brushing against his. It was a simple gesture, but it carried the weight of trust and connection. "My people are far away," she said quietly, "and there are dangers coming. I have been trying to prepare, but I cannot do it alone. Humans may have the strength and courage to help. I wanted to see if there was someone I could trust before I asked for help." Orin nodded. "Then you have me. Whatever comes, I will stand with you. I want to help." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with gratitude. She felt a warmth she had not felt since leaving her home star. For the first time, she realized that Earth could be a place where she was accepted, where she could find allies, and where she could belong without fear. They sat on the hill, watching the stars appear one by one. Lyra explained parts of her life, the things she could safely share. She spoke of her world, its beauty and dangers, and of her journey to Earth. Orin listened intently, fascinated and amazed by her story. He asked questions, not out of disbelief, but out of genuine curiosity and desire to understand her experiences. As the stars grew brighter, Lyra showed him the device she had used to send signals. She explained its functions in careful terms, describing how it connected her to her people and how it could detect distant threats. Orin marveled at the technology, realizing it was unlike anything humans had created. "You are extraordinary," he said softly, "not just because of your abilities, but because of your courage and your heart. You trusted me with this truth, and that means more than you know." Lyra smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Thank you, Orin. You make me feel that I am not alone, that I can be myself without hiding." The wind blew gently across the hill, carrying the scent of earth and grass. The quiet of the evening felt comforting. For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to relax, knowing that her secret was safe and that she had someone she could trust completely. They stayed together until night fell completely. The stars above were brilliant, and the soft glow of the city light created a peaceful backdrop. Orin and Lyra spoke quietly, sharing hopes, fears, and small dreams. Orin felt a deep connection forming, a bond that went beyond friendship. He realized that he did not just want to understand her. He wanted to protect her and stand beside her through whatever challenges lay ahead. Finally, Lyra stood and packed her notebook and device carefully. "I must return to the academy," she said softly. Orin nodded. "I will walk with you," he said. They returned together through the quiet streets, moving carefully so no one would notice them. The night air was cool, and the city was calm. Orin felt a sense of purpose and resolve. He knew that their journey was only beginning, and that the bond they had formed tonight would guide them through the challenges to come. Before parting, Lyra turned to Orin. "You kept your promise," she said. "You did not judge me, and you waited. That is why I feel safe with you." Orin smiled. "And I will continue to keep that promise. Whatever happens, I will stand by you." Lyra nodded, a small sense of peace settling over her. She had shared her truth with someone she could trust. For the first time since arriving on Earth, she felt that she was not alone. As they parted, Orin watched her walk toward the academy, her steps light and purposeful. He knew that her secret was safe with him and that their connection had grown stronger. He felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together they could face anything. The stars above shone brightly, a reminder that the universe was vast and full of mysteries. And in that quiet night, Orin realized that he had found something extraordinary, a friend, a partner, and perhaps the first true connection he had ever known. The night was unusually still. Orin could feel a tension in the air that made the hair on his arms rise. He had been thinking about Lyra all evening, wondering about the secret she had shared and the device she had shown him. The stars above twinkled brightly, but there was something different tonight, a subtle change that made him uneasy. Suddenly, Lyra appeared at the edge of the academy grounds. She was holding her device, and her expression was serious. Orin ran toward her. "Orin, we do not have much time," she said quickly. "Something is coming, and it is not friendly. I received a signal from my people. They warn that a cosmic force is moving toward Earth and my home world. It could be dangerous." Orin's heart skipped a beat. He had suspected challenges might come, but hearing her speak these words made the situation real. "How dangerous?" he asked. "Very," Lyra replied. "It moves fast, and it does not understand mercy. We must prepare. Earth is not ready for this threat, and my people are too far away to help immediately. We will have to act together." Orin nodded. His mind raced with questions, but he saw the determination in her eyes. Lyra was not asking for him to be afraid. She was asking him to trust her and act with courage. He felt a surge of purpose. "Show me what to do," he said. "I will help however I can." Lyra led him to the hidden craft in the forest. The soft blue glow of the machine illuminated the dense trees. She placed her hands on its surface, and it hummed in response, almost like a living being. Orin watched, fascinated by the way it moved to her touch. "This craft can detect the threat and help us prepare defenses," Lyra explained. "I will teach you how it works. You must stay calm and focus. Your understanding and quick thinking will be as important as your courage." Orin nodded. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The idea of helping defend the Earth was daunting, but he trusted Lyra completely. He followed her instructions carefully as she explained the functions of the craft. Lights shifted and pulsed, panels opened and closed, and Orin began to understand that it was a combination of intelligence, energy, and responsiveness. "The craft responds to thought and touch," Lyra said. "It is connected to me, but I can teach you to interact with it. We will need to act quickly when the threat arrives." Orin's eyes widened as he realized the complexity of what she was explaining. He listened carefully, absorbing every detail. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of being part of something so extraordinary. After hours of preparation, they flew the craft above the clouds. The city below looked peaceful and unaware of the danger approaching. Orin controlled parts of the craft under Lyra's guidance, feeling the hum of energy and the responsiveness of the machine beneath his hands. Then, in the distance, a shadow appeared. Orin pointed to it. "What is that?" he asked. Lyra's face was serious. "It is a force. It is massive and moving fast. We must stay focused. We need to study its movement and learn how to defend against it." Orin felt his heart race. The shadow grew larger as it approached. He could sense the energy in the air, the subtle vibration of power moving closer. Lyra guided the craft with confidence, her hands and mind working in harmony with the machine. Orin followed her instructions, and together they monitored the threat. "It is not attacking yet," Lyra said, "but it will. We need to prepare the defenses and alert those who can help. Humanity has courage, Orin. I have seen it, and we will use it to stand against this force." Orin felt a surge of determination. He had always admired courage in books and stories, but now he could feel it firsthand. Lyra had faith in him, and he had faith in her. Together, they represented a partnership that combined human bravery and alien technology. Hours passed as they studied the incoming threat. Lyra showed Orin how to use the craft to send warning signals, how to read the subtle energy shifts, and how to anticipate movement. Orin learned quickly, guided by her calm and steady instructions. He felt a connection not only to the craft but also to Lyra, as if they were working together as one. Finally, the shadow reached the outer edge of the atmosphere. The craft sensors detected it moving toward Earth at incredible speed. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "We must act now," she said. They began sending messages to Earth's scientific community, explaining the situation carefully. Lyra guided Orin as he helped translate her signals into human terms. Their teamwork was precise, and soon the first group of human scientists and engineers began preparations to defend the planet. "Humans have strength and courage that surprises even me," Lyra said quietly to Orin. "Your people are capable of standing with me. That is why I waited to trust someone before revealing this." You have shown that humans can rise to challenges. Orin felt pride and responsibility. Then we will face it together, he said. With your guidance and the help of Earth people, we can do it. The shadow grew larger, its presence undeniable. But Orin noticed something remarkable. The people of Earth, guided by the signals and preparation from Lyra and the craft, began to respond. Scientists worked tirelessly, engineers calculated solutions, and brave volunteers prepared equipment. Humanity, he realized, had the ability to stand and protect itself when given knowledge and guidance. As the craft hovered above the clouds, monitoring the threat, Orin looked at Lyra. I understand now, he said. You came to see if humans could rise to the challenge. You believed we could, and we will. Lyra nodded. That is why I am here, she said softly. We must combine what we know with what humans can do. Together, we are stronger. The shadow continued to approach, but Orin and Lyra remained calm. They had prepared, they had planned, and they had each other. The craft hummed beneath them, responding to Lyra's guidance and Orin's careful input. Together, they represented a partnership that bridged worlds. As the night grew darker, the first signs of the threat's energy became visible. Lights flickered in the sky, and a subtle vibration ran through the atmosphere. But Orin felt confident. He trusted Lyra and their combined abilities. He knew that with courage, intelligence, and cooperation, Earth had a chance to stand. Lyra placed her hand gently on Orin's shoulder. Are you ready? She asked. He nodded. I am ready, he said firmly. The craft rose higher, lights glowing brightly. The shadow loomed closer, a reminder of the danger approaching. But together, Orin and Lyra felt a quiet strength. They were no longer just a human and a stranger from the stars. They were partners, ready to face the coming storm. The first battle for Earth's safety was about to begin, and Orin knew that courage, trust, and unity would guide them through the night. The night sky was alive with movement. Far above the Earth, the shadow of the cosmic threat advanced with relentless power. Lights flickered and clouds swirled as the atmosphere sensed the approach of something extraordinary and dangerous. Below, humanity braced for impact, guided by the signals and strategies Lyra had shared. Orin and Lyra stood inside the craft, their hands steady on the controls. The blue glow of the machine illuminated their faces, revealing determination and focus. Lyra's eyes were sharp, calculating every movement, while Orin's attention was on following her guidance perfectly. It is closer now, Lyra said softly. We must prepare the defense grid. The human teams are ready, but timing is everything. We must synchronize with them. Orin nodded. I understand. Tell me what to do. Together, they activated the craft systems. Lyra explained how to release energy pulses that could shield cities and redirect dangerous debris. She instructed Orin on monitoring the threat's movement and calculating precise timing for the pulses. Every action mattered. Every second counted. As the shadow neared, its energy created a low vibration that could be felt even in the craft. Orin glanced at Lyra. It feels alive, he said. It is not alive in the way we understand, Lyra replied. It is a force of energy from another region of space. It does not understand mercy or fear, but it can be managed with intelligence and courage. The first pulse of energy shot from the craft. It connected with the atmosphere and redirected fragments away from the nearest cities. Below, lights flashed as humans implemented emergency plans. Engineers and volunteers worked together, their actions synchronized with Lyra and Orin's guidance. Orin felt a surge of pride. Humanity was capable of incredible things when given knowledge, direction, and trust. He looked at Lyra, who smiled briefly, a mixture of relief and confidence shining in her eyes. Keep focused, she said. We have more to do. The shadow continued to move, larger and faster than before. Its energy shifted unpredictably, testing every calculation. Lyra adjusted the craft's controls, her movement precise, while Orin assisted, following her instructions carefully. Together, they worked in perfect harmony, the alien and the human united against a common challenge. Another pulse was released, stronger than the first. This one struck a cluster of dangerous fragments heading toward the Earth's surface. Orin felt the hum of energy vibrate through his hands as the craft responded instantly. The fragments changed course, harmlessly burning in the atmosphere. It is working, Orin said, relief in his voice. "Yes," Lyra replied, "but we cannot stop now. We must continue until it retreats." Hours seemed to pass in minutes as they released coordinated energy pulses. Below, the human teams responded flawlessly, placing protective shields and redirecting smaller hazards. Orin could feel the connection growing stronger, not just with Lyra and the craft, but with humanity itself. They were working together, united in purpose, and it was a sight that filled him with awe. The shadow began to waver, its approach less confident. Lyra noticed it immediately. "It is reacting to our defenses. It is not used opposition. Keep going. Do not stop until it is gone." Orin felt a rush of determination. Every instruction from Lyra became instinctive. He anticipated her moves, adjusting the craft in sync with her guidance. He realized that the trust they had built over days had become more than friendship. It was a partnership that could face any challenge. The final pulse was calculated carefully. Lyra and Orin focused together, their minds and hands guiding the craft in perfect harmony. The energy shot into the sky, striking the shadow at its core. A brilliant light flashed, and the force recoiled, retreating into the vastness of space. Slowly, the threat diminished, leaving the atmosphere calm once more. Below, humans cheered and celebrated. Engineers and scientists embraced. Volunteers clapped and shouted. Orin looked out at the earth beneath him, feeling pride and awe. Humanity had faced a challenge beyond imagination, guided by intelligence, courage, and unity. Lyra turned to him, her eyes shining. "We did it," she said softly. "Yes," Orin replied. Together, they returned the craft to the hidden valley in the forest. The glow faded, and the machine settled quietly, as if resting after the great effort. Lyra carefully stored her device, her notebook, and allowed herself a moment to breathe. Orin stood beside her, feeling the quiet peace that comes after great danger. "You were incredible," Orin said, "not just because of your abilities, but because you trusted humans and worked with us." Lyra smiled. "I have learned that humans can be brave and wise. That is why I stayed, to see if there was hope for our worlds to understand each other. And now I know there is." Orin nodded. "And I know that I want to stay by your side, whatever comes next. You are extraordinary, Lyra, and I am glad you trusted me." Lyra's expression softened. "You were patient and kind. You did not judge me. You waited. That is why I feel safe. You are rare, Orin, and I am grateful to have someone like you." The night was calm once more. Stars sparkled above them, reminding them of the vast universe beyond Earth. Orin realized that the adventure had not only revealed Lyra's secrets, but had also shown him the strength and courage of humanity. Together, humans and aliens could face the unknown. As they walked back toward the academy, the forest quiet and peaceful, Orin felt a deep sense of purpose. He understood that the world had changed, not just because of the threat they had faced, but because of the bond he shared with Lyra. Trust, patience, and courage had brought them together. "You think this is the end?" Orin asked, glancing at Lyra. "For now," she said, "but the universe is vast. We must always be ready. That is why I came to Earth. That is why I chose to trust humans." Orin nodded, feeling ready for anything. "Then we face it together," he said firmly. Lyra smiled, the first full smile he had seen from her since revealing her secret. Together, she agreed. The world below slept peacefully, unaware of the danger that had been so close. But above, the stars shone with a new brilliance, a reminder of the courage, trust, and unity that had protected Earth. Orin and Lyra stood side by side, ready to face the future together, knowing that extraordinary things could happen when trust and bravery guide every action. And in that quiet night, the bond between human and alien was stronger than ever, a promise that no matter what challenges the universe held, they would meet them as one.